Hello, yoga students, and welcome to your yoga practice. This is going to be an active yoga practice today. I recommend you have blankets nearby. I recommend you have a chair or a wall for balance if you need it. Otherwise, you're going to clear your mat, clear your mind, and get yourself ready for your yoga class. So, as you get yourself set up for yoga practice today, the theme for today's class is kindness. And I mean kindness to yourself, to others, and to the world around you. So as you get yourself set up, find a good seated position, sitting bones back and apart, inner thighs in and down, fingers tips next to your hips as you grow long through your side body. Then tone your belly. Take the tip of your tailbone and bring it down to the earth. Good. Take your shoulders up towards your ears, back towards the back of the room, and broaden them as they slide down your back. Then bring your hands to your upper thighs, close your eyes or soften your gaze. And as you begin to check in with a sense of softening, notice how you're feeling. Maybe you're feeling self-critical today. See if you can shift that sense of criticism to a kind word for yourself. And let that kind word ripple throughout your body as you begin to soften. Softening the skin on your face, say space between your eyebrows, your jaw. Any place in your body where you're feeling tension. Beautiful. And bring your attention to your breath, just noticing where your breathing is today, quality of your breath. And maybe begin to lengthen your exhale. The sense of sighing. You've done well. You're doing the best you can. Maybe scan through your thoughts. If you have thoughts that aren't serving you at this moment, maybe see if you can set those aside for the next 60 minutes as we go through our yoga practice today. And just breathe in and out gently, creating a gentle flow of giving and receiving kindness. And maybe bring to mind before you begin your yoga practice today a kindness that's occurred to you in the last day or two. Maybe it's a kindness you've extended to someone else or a kindness someone has extended to you. Just hold space for that for a few moments. And if you'd like to set an intention for your practice today, I recommend an intention based on being kind as you move through a challenging yoga practice today. Maybe scoop up that intention between the palms of your hands. Bring your palms together. Bring your palms to the center of your heart space as you lift your heart space a little more fully. Deep breath in. Exhale. Press your palms together to seal your intention. Release your hands. Lift your chin. Open your eyes. We're going to move through a foot massage so you can take your feet out in front of you. Maybe wiggle them back and forth. And then I'd like you to cross one ankle over top the other leg as you begin to rub through the sole of the foot. Rubbing front to back, back to front. Make it feel good for you. Maybe you twist and pull each toe. Good. Then interlace the fingers in between the tops of the toes. Wiggle them down as you make space between the toes. Massage the toes, the mounds of the feet. And then begin to circle the ankle. Going in one direction and then the other. Good. Come on back to the center. Wiggle the foot back and forth, then pause. Spread the fingers and the toes. See if you can keep them spread as you take your hand away, making space. Making space for kindness, perhaps, as you take your hand to the top of the foot. Point it. Just stretching the front of the leg and flex it. Working on the calf, the Achilles tendon. Good. Release that. Rub through the sole of the foot again. Find the spaces you may have missed the first time. Just open everything up. Good. Stack your thumbs at the base of the middle toe. Press them up towards the middle toe as you drape the big toe mound, little toe mound around your thumbs, stretching the transverse arch of your foot. Good. Then slide your thumbs out to the big toe mound, little toe mound. Separate the long bones of the foot. Give them a wiggle. And release that and clap the foot and paddle it. Make a fist and tap the sole of the foot. Good. Pause. Take a hold of the ankle. Lean on back. Shake the foot out. Just let it go. And take a hold of the outer edge of the foot. Hug the shin in as you open the leg out. Working on the hip. And release that back out in front of you. Head of the femur back into the hip socket. Breathe. And we switch sides. So you cross the other ankle over top the knee. You start rubbing through the sole of this foot. Massaging. Twist and pull each toe. Interlace your fingers in between the toes. Wiggle them down. Massage the toes, the mounds, and then start to circle the ankle. Beautiful. Switch directions. Good. Pause. Wiggle the foot back and forth. Then come to stillness with your foot. Spread your fingers and your toes wide. Keep them wide as you can as you take the hand away. Good. Then point the foot and flex it. And release that. Rub through the sole of the foot again. Yes, making it feel good. Kindness to yourself. Stack the thumbs at the base of the middle toe. Press them up. And then slide the thumbs out to the big toe mound, little toe mound. Wiggle the top of the foot apart. Good. Release that. Pause. Clap the foot. And paddle it. And make a fist and tap the sole of the foot. Good. Release that. Lean on back. Take a hold of the ankle. Shake it out. Let it go. And then take a hold of the outer edge of the foot. Hug the shin in as you open that hip out. And release that out in front of you. Head of the femur back in the hip socket. This is an active yoga practice today. It is what I call a build. By that I mean we're going to go through one pose and then we'll add a second pose. We'll go back and do poses 1 and 2, then add a third pose, and so forth till we go through all of the poses in the sequence. Then we'll run through the sequence once or twice, depending on upon how much time we have left in class. This is a challenging class today, so I invite you to be kind to yourself as you move through your yoga practice. If it's too much for you, then you give yourself permission to pause. You give yourself permission to have a chair nearby for balance. You give yourself time to take a break if you need to. Maybe you even go less deep into some of the poses that we're going to be working on or working total body. So as you get yourself ready, you come to a standing position. You can remove your blankets if you have them. If you have a chair, you're going to set it nearby or have a wall nearby. You're going to come to the back of your mat to begin your yoga practice today. And you come to Tadasana, mountain pose at the back of the mat. Good. Take a look down at your feet. Make sure you're making a number 11 and you activate your legs, drawing energy up the legs. Good. Without hyperextending your knees, have a micro bend in those knees, shoulders up, back, and broaden. We're going to start with what I call a forward plank. It's a forward bend, walking forward into a plank. Then we're going to walk our hands back to our feet and stand again. We're going to do that twice. As we begin, you come to Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, hinge forward into your forward bend. Plant the hands and walk them forward into plank pose. Good. Then walk your hands back towards the feet. Come back to your Tadasana mountain pose. Do that again. Inhale, walking forward into plank. Pause there. We add up. We're going to do walking lizard pose. So you're going to take your right leg forward to the outside of the left hand and then step it back to your plank pose. Left foot comes forward outside of the hand. Step back to plank. Repeat that. Right foot forward and back. Left foot forward and back. Walk your hands back towards your feet. We go all the way to the top of the sequence. You pause, breathe. First part of the sequence is our walking forward plank. So you inhale your arms overhead, hinge forward into your Tadasana, walk your hands forward into plank, and then back. You come up to your Tadasana, breathe, hinge forward, walk your hands forward, pause there. Inhale, right leg forward into your walking lizard, and back. Left leg forward and back. One more time. Right leg and back. Left leg and back. Walk your hands back towards your feet. We're adding on a third position as you come to standing. We're going to walk our feet forward and wide as we bend our hips into chair pose. And they're going to walk our feet together for narrow chair and step them back behind us for wide chair. Can you step them forward together again for narrow chair one more time? Wide chair, narrow chair, wide chair, narrow chair. Come to standing pause, close your eyes, breathe, heart rate beginning to rise. We're going to add up. So we go all the way back to the top of the sequence. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, we walk the hands forward into plank pose and then back. Come back to Tadasana, arms overhead. We come forward into plank pose. And then we pause, walking lizard next. So your right leg comes forward and goes back. Left leg forward and back. Right leg and back. Left leg and back. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Come to standing. Wide and narrow chair comes next. So you walk your feet forward and wide. You come to chair pose, Utkatasana. Then a narrow Utkatasana. Walk them back to wide Utkatasana and narrow. One more time with the wide and narrow. Wide, narrow, wide, narrow. Breathe. We're going to work through a flying warrior three now. So for your warrior three, you can take your hands to your hips, or you can take your hands behind the back of your skull. If you need balance, you use your chair for balance. We're going to move with our right leg first. So we're going to stand on the left leg. We're going to bend the right knee and bring it behind us. And then come back forward. You can tap the foot down if you'd like or not. Do that again. Warrior three. And back. Switch sides. So your left knee is going to bend. You're going to lean forward and come back up. And lean forward. Leg goes behind you. And come back up. Breathe. Walk back to the back of your mat. We go back to the top of the sequence again, adding one more pose. So you close your eyes, you pause, just let your heart rate come down, soften your jaw, skin on your face. Let your breathing come down. Peep open your eyes. Good. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, hinge forward, walk the hands forward into forward plank. And hands walk back. You come back to Tadasana mountain pose. Arms overhead. Hinge forward, walk the hands forward into plank pose. You pause there. You move through your lizard. If you'd like to add up your arms, you can. If that's not in your practice today, that is fine too. This is options for you. As you work through your lizard pose, 2 times on each side. Then you come back to the center, walk your hands back towards your feet. Come to standing. We work on wide and narrow chair. So you walk your feet as wide as the sticky mat. And then closer together. Wide as your sticky mat again. Close together. Beautiful. One more time through that whole sequence. Wide and narrow and wide and narrow. What comes next? Yes, we have the flying warrior 3. So hands to your hips if you'd like. You can use the chair for balance. You're going to bend the right knee, go long through the left leg. You're going to hinge forward, taking the right leg behind you, and come back to center and behind you, and come back to center, working on your balance, working on your stability as we switch sides. Right leg stabilizes, left leg goes behind you and comes back to center and behind you. And come back to center. Plant both feet. We add up. You're going to take your right leg forward into a high lunge. Breathe. Step it back underneath you. Right leg is going to go behind you into a lunge. Beautiful dynamic lunges. Step the right leg to the center. We do the same thing on the left side. Left leg forward and center and back and center. Walk all the way to the back of your mat. We go to the top of the sequence. We add one more pose onto it. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hinge forward, walking into plank. Beautiful. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Come back to mountain pose. Arms overhead. Hinge forward. Walk your hands forward into plank pose, the top of a push-up. Breathe. You step your right leg forward into lizard. You can add up the arm for the twist if you'd like or not. Left leg comes forward. Right leg. Left leg. Can you find your smile? Step back to plank. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Come to standing. Pause if you need to. Wide and narrow chair are next. So you maybe take your hands to your heart space. Breathe. Step your feet forward and wide as you bend your knees and hips. And then you step them close together. Then you step them behind you and wide and together. One more time. Forward and wide. Together. Backward and wide. And together. Flying warrior 3 is next. So you take your hands to your hip creases. You find your balance if you need to. You balance on your left leg as your right leg goes behind you. And then you come forward and behind you again. And come forward. Plant the right leg. We switch sides. Left knee bends as you take your left leg behind you and forward. and behind you and forward. Plant the feet. We go into that dynamic lunge. So we're going to take our right leg and step it forward into lunge, then come back to center. And the right leg steps behind you into a lunge. Good. Back to center. We switch sides. Left leg forward into a lunge and back to center. Left leg back to lunge and to center. Breathe. We're going to step side to side. So you're going to step your right leg to the right. You're going to lift the left leg, then set it down. Set the right leg back to center. Left leg goes to the left. You lift the right leg, set it down, come back to center. Can you do that one more time? Right leg to the side, lift the left, set it down. Come back to the center. Left leg to the left, lift, set it down. Come back to the center. We go back to the top, adding on. Close your eyes for a moment. Notice your heart rate. Notice how you're feeling. Take a couple deep breaths. Exhale longer than inhale if you can. Slow everything down. This is a tough sequence. It can be very challenging. As you are moving and building up heat in the body, you're also asking the body to balance. This is really good for you. It's good for helping you learn how to balance as you move through changes in everyday life, even as things are changing, and still be kind to yourself. Let go of your self-criticism, letting your heart rate calm down. Peep open your eyes. Walk to the back of your mat. Find your Tadasana mountain pose. We go back to the top of the entire sequence. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, hinge forward. Walk your hands forward into plank pose. And then back. Come back to standing. One more time. You're going to hinge forward and walk forward into plank. Yeah. Coming next, walking lizard. So your right leg comes forward. Maybe that right arm reaches to the ceiling. Set it down, step back. Left leg comes forward. Your left arm comes to the ceiling. Set it down, come back. Right leg forward. Maybe it's not time for your right hand this time. You decide. Step back, left leg forward, and step it back. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Come up to Tadasana mountain pose. Breathe. We do wide and narrow chair. So you walk your feet wide and forward as you bend your knees. Tone your belly, lengthen your tailbone. Can you walk your feet narrow? Beautiful. And maybe wide again. And narrow. Wide one more time. Full sequence. And narrow. And wide. And narrow. Straighten your legs. Pause there, moving into Flying Warrior 3. Maybe this time you can take your hands behind the back of your skull. As you stabilize your left leg, bend your right knee. We hinge forward, taking our right leg behind us. And we come back to center. And again, slowly. We come back to center. Switch sides. If you need to release the hands to your hips, you can do that. Or maybe you keep your hands behind the back of your skull as your left leg goes behind you and comes forward. And again. And come forward. Good. Release the hands. We step forward into our dynamic crescent lunge. And step to the center. Right leg goes behind you for a crescent lunge. Beautiful. And back to the center. We switch sides, lunging on the left leg. And back to center. Left leg behind you. And back to center. We move side to side. So you step to the right, lift your left leg, set it down, legs together, step to the left, lift your right leg, set it down, legs together one more time, step to the right, lift left, set it down, step to the left, lift the right leg, set it down, come on back to the center, straighten your legs. This next pose is Padangustasana. I like to think of it as a bookmark. So you're going to stabilize your left leg, bend your right knee, and lift it just slightly off the ground. You're going to open the knee out to the side just like you're opening a book. Then you're going to straighten the knee, bend it, close the book, set it down, switch sides, bending left knee, lift it up, open the book, set a bookmark in it. Take the bookmark away, close it, set it down one more time. Right knee, lift, open, straighten the knee, bend the knee, close it, set it down. Last time, left side, bend the knee, lift it, open it to the side, straighten the leg, bend the leg, close the book, set it down. We go all the way back to the top, adding up. Breathe. Walk to the back of your mat. Inhale your arms overhead. You're doing great. Exhale, hinge forward, Uttanasana. Walk forward into plank pose. And back into Uttanasana. Up to your Tadasana. Do that again. Hinging forward, walking forward. Pause in plank pose. We move through lizard. So you step your right leg forward. Add up the hand if you wish. Left leg forward. Adding up the twist. Only if that feels good. Do that again. Right leg. Left leg. Plant the hands. Come back through plank. Walk your hands back toward your feet. Come up to Tadasana, mountain pose. Breathe. We go through wide and narrow chair. So you walk your feet forward, bend the knees. Together, narrow chair. Back, wide chair. Together, narrow chair. Maybe this time you can reach your arms overhead for wide chair. Narrow chair. Wide chair. Narrow chair, come back to the center, release the hands. We go through dynamic lunge, right leg comes forward and back to the center. Right leg behind you and back to the center. Switch legs, left leg forward and center and back and center. As you breathe, we're going to step side to side. So you're going to step your right leg to the right, lift the left leg, set it down, step your feet together. Left leg to the left, lift the right leg, set it down, feet together. Do that again. Right leg, left leg. Come to standing. We do that bookmark. So you're going to straighten the left leg, bend the right knee, lift it, open the knee to the side. Put a bookmark in your book. Take the bookmark away, close the cover. Set your foot down, switch sides. Left knee lifts, opens, straighten the leg, bend it, close it, set it down. One more round. Right knee lifts, opens, straighten the leg, bend it, close it, set it down. Left leg, lift, open, straighten, bend, close, set it down. We add up, and you have an option. You widen your feet if you'd like, and you bend your knees and hips and come all the way into Malasana. Or if that doesn't work for you, you can come into a wide forward bend, Prasarita Padottanasana. You do that twice, whichever option you choose, Malasana or Prasarita Padottanasana. Come back to the center. We add all the way up. We go back to the top. We're almost at the end of the whole sequence. You're doing great. Close your eyes. Soften your gaze. Check in. Allow your heart rate to come down. Allow kindness to be extended to yourself as you try something new, as you work on a challenging sequence, a true vinyasa flow, something that's totally different for you, most likely. Let your heart rate come down. When you're ready, open your eyes. We go all the way from the top again. We only have 2 more poses to add up, and the last one I promise you'll like. So we begin at the top. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, hinge forward. Walk your hands forward into plank pose. Walk them back. Come back to standing, arms overhead. Do that again. Hinge forward. Walk the hands forward. Pause there when you get there. Your right leg comes forward into lizard. You can open that right hand if you'd like, or not. Right hand goes behind you. Left foot comes forward. Sorry. Lift the left hand if you'd like. Set it down. Back to plank. Right side. Yes, left side. You're doing a great job. Step back to your plank pose. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Come all the way up to your Tadasana mountain pose. We have wide and narrow chair. 2 times through the sequence as we step wide and narrow and wide and narrow. Adding up the arms if it feels good for you. Once you get back to narrow chair, you straighten the legs. We move through our flying warrior 3. So you're going to straighten your left leg. Right leg goes behind you. As you work on your balance, you come back to the center. Take that right leg behind you again. Foot is flexed. Toes facing down, knee facing down. Come on back to the center. Switch sides. Maybe your warrior isn't as deep. That's okay. It's still a warrior 3. Take that left leg behind you again. Release it down. We go through that dynamic crescent. So you're going to walk your right leg forward and come back to the center. Right leg goes behind you. Good. Come on back to the center. Left leg forward and center and back and center. Excellent. We're going to move from side to side. So you're going to step your right leg to the right, lift the left leg, back to the center, close them. Left leg to the side, lift your right leg. Step them together one more time. Right leg to the right, left leg lifts. Come back to the center, left leg to the left, right leg lifts. Come back to the center, straighten your knees. We're going to open the book. Beautiful. Standing legs, your left leg, bend your right knee. Lift it just slightly off the ground. Open the knee to the side. Bookmark it. Close the bookmark. Close the knee, set the foot down. Can you do it again? Same side. Lift right knee. Open. Straighten the leg. Bend the leg. Close it. Set it down 2 times on the left side. Bend your left knee. Lift it. Open it to the side. Straighten the leg. Bend it. Close the knee in. Set it down. Lift left. Open to the left. Straighten the leg. Bend it. Bring the knee back to the center. Set it down. Beautiful. We have our Malasana or our Prasarita Padottanasana. So you step your feet wide. If you're moving through Malasana, you bend your knees and your hips as deeply as you can and come back to the center. If you're moving into Prasarita Padottanasana, you're hinging forward, planting your hands in front of your face and coming back to center. You do that twice. Good. We're going to come back to the center. We're going to bend our knees and come all the way down to the mat. Table position. Excellent. You're going to take your right leg behind you, tap your right shoulder with your left hand, release everything down. Left leg goes up and back. Tap your left shoulder with your right hand. Do that again. Switch sides. Right leg. Left hand taps your right shoulder. Left leg back. Right hand taps your left shoulder. Come back to the center. Come all the way back to standing. We only have one more pose to add up. I promise you'll like the last pose. You're doing great. You come to Tadasana Mountain Pose. And we start from the top, arms overhead. Hinge forward at the hip creases. Walk your hands forward into your plank pose. Walk them back again. Come back to Tadasana. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hinge forward. Walk the hands forward into plank pose. Find your lizard. Right leg forward. Your right arm can lift if you'd like or not. Right leg goes back. Left leg comes forward. You release the left arm if you'd like. Switch sides. Right leg, right hand. Left leg, left hand or not. Come on back to the center, plank pose. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Tadasana Mountain Pose. Wide and narrow chair next. So you step your feet forward and wide as you bend your knees. And then together, narrow. Bend your knees, yes. Back behind you, wide. Bend those knees. Come back to a narrow chair. One more time through the sequence. Wide and narrow and wide and narrow. Straighten your legs. Tadasana Flying Warrior 3 is next. Hand position up to your hands at your hips or behind the back of your skull. You straighten your left leg. Right leg goes behind you and comes forward. Maybe you tap, maybe you don't. Do that again. Good. Plant the right leg, lift the left leg. As you take warrior on the other side, 2 times. Beautiful. Come on back to the center. We have that dynamic lunge, dynamic crescent pose. So you walk your right leg forward and together and back behind you. Yes, together. Beautiful. Left leg forward and together and back and together. We move side to side. So right leg goes to the right. You lift your left leg. Step the feet together. Left leg to the left. Lift the right to the side. Step together. Right to the right. Left lifts. Feet together. Left leg to the left. Right leg lifts. Feet together. Good. Straighten the legs. We move through opening and closing our book. So you straighten your left leg, bend the right knee, lift it. Maybe you keep it low, you open it. You straighten the leg, bend it. Knee comes to center, set it down, same side. Lift the right knee, open it, straighten the leg, bend it, close it, set it down. It's okay to tap, nothing bad happens as we switch sides. Opening, straighten the leg, bend it, close, set it down one more time. Lifting the left knee, opening it, straightening it, bend, close, set it down. We move through Malasana or your wide forward bend. So yogi's choice, I'm moving through that Malasana. And then you're going to come to your table position. And we move through the bird dog taps. So your right leg goes behind you. You tap your right shoulder with your left hand. Left leg behind you. Tap your left shoulder with your right hand. Do that again. Right leg back, left hand taps, left leg back, right hand taps. Come back to the center, big toes together, knees apart, shift back to child's. Told you you'd like it. And come back to table and shift back to child's again. Just pause. Feel your child's pose. Maybe bring your forearms together. Rest your forehead on top of your forearms. Just breathe. We're going to move through the entire sequence one more time together. But before we do that, I want you to check into yourself. Notice how you're feeling. And maybe see if you can give yourself a congratulations for going through a challenging yoga practice today. Deep, full breaths as you expand your rib cage, your lumbar spine, maybe even your low back and your sacrum. See if you can make space. And when you're ready, please stand back up, step to the back of your mat. We have one more round to go. I'm going to straighten my mat because it has walked around during my yoga practice. Active yoga practice, sometimes that happens. We move through this entire sequence one more time. As you come to your Tadasana mountain pose, relax your jaw, the skin on your face. Bring the corners of your mouth to the sky, arms come overhead. You hinge forward at your hip creases, plant the hands, walk forward to plank pose. And back to your standing forward bend. Come through your Tadasana, arms overhead. Hinge forward, walk the hands forward into plank pose. Pause there. We move through lizard. Right leg forward, right arm lifts. Switch sides. Left leg, left arm. Switch again. Right leg, right arm. Left leg, left arm. Plant the hands, come back through plank. Walk your hands back toward your feet. Lift up into Tadasana mountain pose. Breathe. We have wide and narrow chair. Hands in front of your heart space. Walk your feet forward and wide as you bend the knees. And narrow so you can keep your heart space lifted. Wide and narrow and wide and narrow and wide and narrow. We come through our flying warrior three, hands to your hip creases or behind the back of the skull. Straighten your left leg, hinge forward, right leg goes behind you. And you come back to the center and you do it again. And you come back to the center, switch sides. Left leg going behind you and coming forward when you're ready. And again. And forward. Release the hands. Dynamic lunge. Step your right leg forward and together. Back behind you and together. Forward and together. Back and together. I forgot to tell you to switch sides. Release the hands. We have side to side. Right leg steps to the right. You lift the left leg. Set it down. Both feet together. Left leg to the left. Lift the right. Set it down. Step together. And one more time. Right to the right. Lift to the left. Step them together. Left to the left. Lift the right. Set it down. Step them together. Straighten the legs. We come into our book cover. Good. Straighten the left leg. Bend the right knee. Lift it. Open it to the side. Straighten the leg. Bend it. Knee comes back to the center. Tap it down. One more time. Right leg lifts. Open to the side. Open the foot out. Bend the knee. Close it. Set it down 2 times on the left side. You go at your own pace. You know the sequence now. If you need to tap down in between, if you need your chair or your wall for balance, you allow that. When you're finished with your bookmark, you're either going to do Malasana twice, or you're going to do your Prasarita Padottanasana twice. Yogi's choice on that. And then you're going to bend your knees, come to your table position. Set your table position up. Right leg goes back. Left hand taps the right shoulder. Left leg goes back. Right hand taps the left shoulder. Do that again. Right leg, left hand. Left leg, right hand. Big toes together, knees apart, child's pose. Come back to your table. Child's pose again. And pause there. Stack your forearms, just rest. Breathing in and out. Letting your lumbar spine expand. Your sacrum, your low back. When you're ready, I'd like you to walk your hands towards your knees. Come up on top of your knees. Swing your legs out in front of you. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me. We're going to do reverse table pose. So I'd like you to take your hands behind you with your fingertips facing away from you. And we're just going to squeeze our heart space towards the sky and lift our hips for reverse table and close it down. Come on back to the center, lift up into reverse table again. And set your hips down. Take your hands to the fronts of your knees and lift up. Just breathe. Good. We're going to move into boat pose. So you're going to lift your toes, maybe take your heels a little farther away from you and lean your torso back till your arms straight, your elbows are straight, but they're holding on to your knees. And you'll feel that flat part on your tail, your sitting bones. Find that flat part of your sitting bones. Yeah. Lift your heart space. Just breathe. Maybe from here you can lift your right leg off the mat, knees bent. Your hand can help support underneath that right knee. Set it down. Try the left leg, knee bent. Set it down. You can do that again, or you can come with me as you lean back. Lift the right leg and the left leg. Heart space lifted. Set your feet down. Hands to the fronts of your knees. Lift up. Lean back again. We're going to add up. So maybe you release your right hand and set it back down. Left hand. Set it back down. Lift your right hand, right leg. Set both back down. Yes. Left hand, left leg. Set it back down. Lean back. Maybe you can release your right and your left hand. Maybe you can lift your right leg and your left leg. Set them down. Come back to the center. Breathe. You could do that again, or you can come with me as we try to straighten our knees. So we're going to lean back. We're going to release our right and left hand. Lift our right foot, left foot. Straighten the right leg, left leg. Woo, come on back to the center. Beautiful. Roll all the way down. Knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. Maybe take your knees from one side to the other. Windshield wiper. Make it feel really good for you. You've done a lot of work today. Yes, windshield wiper back and forth. If your knees get over to the right, just keep them to the right for a moment. Let your hips open out, your inner thighs. Let your heart rate come down. Good. Switch sides. Your knees go over to the left. Maybe your right hip lifts a little bit. A little bit of internal and external rotation going on in the hips. Good. Then come on back to the center. Excellent. Please cross your right ankle over top of your left knee and open your right knee out into a figure four. Just breathe. If you'd like to lift that left leg towards your chest, interlace your hands behind the upper thigh, you can do that. You can use your right elbow to help open out that knee. You can stay here. You can straighten that left leg, sole of the foot towards the ceiling. Back of the skull is back, back of the neck is long, so you're not hyperextending your chin. It's like you're holding a grapefruit between your chin and your chest. And release that. Switch sides, taking your time, allowing one side of the body to be different than the other, allowing whatever you need from one side to the next to happen. This is a kindness to yourself. It's a recognition that from one day to the next, we're not the same person. From one side to the other, we're different. Many different facts and circumstances changing who we are. And so we adjust in a way that allows us to engage in life affirming behavior. For most of us, the kindnesses we extend to others are rarely extended to ourselves. As you uncross your legs, maybe wiggle your knees back and forth. Good. This time I'd like you to cross your right thigh over top of your left thigh. Squeeze your right ankle in toward your left shin. Good. Keep that. You're going to bump your hips slightly to the left. Take your knees over to the right. Just feel a good stretch on that IT band. And come on back to the center. Uncross the legs. Bring your hips back to the center. And we shift sides. Left thigh crosses over top the right leg. You squeeze thigh to thigh. Squeeze that left ankle in towards the right shin. Good. Bump your hips slightly to the right. Let your knees open out to the left side of the mat. And come on back to the center. Uncross your legs. If you need a small flow, if you'd like to take happy baby, if there's something you need for yourself, this is a good time to do that. And then I'd like you to give yourself 3 big hugs, knees, chest, and chin in. Taking your Apanasana. And then you set yourself up for your Shavasana. Make it a form of Shavasana that serves you today. Maybe it's your classic Shavasana with your feet straight, toes away from one another, heels in towards one another. You open your palms to the sky, snuggle your shoulder blades together. Take your hands slightly away from your hips. Back of the skull's back, back of the neck is long. Maybe you shake your skull back and forth just a little bit, just to release any residual tension. And then close your eyes or soften your gaze. And please enjoy the depth of your Shavasana. Let yourself rest. without disturbing your rest. Just begin to notice your breathing, rise and fall of your belly, your chest, maybe even up under your collarbones. And allow that breath begin to ripple out to the limbs of your body as you make small movements of your fingers, your toes, your wrists, your ankles. Allow yourself to move in a way that feels good to you, that's particularly nurturing for you. And maybe you reach your arms overhead, take a full body stretch, full prostration, maybe even arch your back. And then bend your knees and roll over to the side and pause there, cradling your head with your lower arm, or your knees close to your chest, fetal position. Take a moment to look into your beautiful, brilliant heart space, your breath, your breathing. All happening without you even thinking about it. And just so if we practice kindness, our actions become kind without us even thinking about it. And so as you bend your knees, bring them closer to your heart space. Use the strength of your hands to come back to a seated position. Sit well, just as you did at the beginning of class, sitting bones back and apart, inner thighs in and down. Fingertips next to your hips as you grow long through the side body. Maybe shake your head back and forth. And then bring it to a place of stillness as you release your hands, shoulders up, back, and broaden. Hands to your upper thighs, turn the palms up. Bring the tip of the index finger and the thumb together in a gesture of receiving. The things we practice are the things we manifest out in our world. If we practice social media posts that are snarky and negative, so too our actions will become snarky and negative. And so the invitation this week as you take your yoga practice off your mat and out into the world is to pause and to be mindful of your actions and maybe be kind. And maybe it starts with this one thought. Just as your hands are open to the sky, you received some kindness. You thought of it at the beginning of class. Or perhaps you gave a kindness. And perhaps that happened without you even thinking about it. Maybe this week you can pay that kindness forward. Or maybe you pay it backward, yogi's choice. And in being kind, begin to filter the seeds of kindness out through the world. And kindness begets kindness. Inhale your hands together in front of your heart space. If you set an intention for your practice today and you'd like to take that intention with you out into the world for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of your life, maybe press your palms together. As you release your hands, lift your chin, open your eyes. You can take your intention and your kindness out into the world. Thank you for your yoga practice today. Thank you for your patience as you tried probably a very new and challenging practice for all of you. Namaste. I hope you have a wonderful week and I hope to see you soon on the mat. Thank you.